welcome to the second video of our series on how to be a background vocalist. With me again is Angie Hovig, premier worship leader. As I said before, in case you forgot, she is the best in the business. So she knows a lot about this stuff, so thank you for being here with us today. In the first video, we talked about kind of the basics of how to be a background vocalist, what the role is, what that entails, and then diving into specific harmonies and parts, what's available. So we covered all the basic ground, and so now we're going to dive into some more nuance, some more next level stuff. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what Angie calls entrances. So Angie, kind of just tee us off. What are entrances? What do you mean by that?
I would just say it's where the background vocal or the supporting vocal comes in. Like, are they coming in verse or chorus or verse 2?
Yep.
And then where are you not singing?
Yep. So we touched on this a little bit in the first video, but thinking of it more musically, more dynamically, I'm sure you've had this experience, but I've had experiences with vocalists on my team where they think they need to start singing right away with me verse 1 through the end of the song.
Yeah.
Which of course is not dynamic, it's not musical. And so kind of treating your vocal as an instrument that helps the song move upward in dynamics. So yeah, kind of finding those spots to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're the singer on the team, the weekend's coming up, you got to prepare those entrances. What do you do?
I mean, it's just so easily laid out for them.
Sure.
Listen to the reference track.
Sure.
There's typically, in worship music, there's typically some kind of a vocal happening besides the main vocal.
Yep.
And so my advice would just be to copy whatever they're doing.
Yep.
Like, where are they coming in? And of course, that means, like, if it's appropriate in a live setting, there are some worship songs that are more of a duet, or there's lots of ad-libbing or whatever. And that's more meant for like a studio situation.
I only ad-lib. Verse 1 comes in, I'm like, whoa, yeah!
Yeah, lots of riffing happening.
I would lose my job if I did that.
I think we both would. I just feel like the role of a background vocalist is, as we talked about in the last video, to be a support vocal.
Yep.
And it's not to take away. So like you said, like, vocalists who come in at the top of a song, that's like how I grew up in the church that I grew up in. And no, like, shame for them.
Sure.
Like, it was great. That's where I learned how to, like, sing, or that's where my music, like, love and, like, passion began. But also, like, less is more.
Yep.
And watching some of those background singers sing from top to bottom, I was like, oh.
Well, when I started Eagle Brook, I didn't know how to be a background vocalist, and I started learning harmonies, and I'd come into the rehearsal, and I would be that guy who would just sing at the top with them, and they would give me feedback later, like, hey, maybe wait till chorus 1, maybe wait till the bridge, maybe don't sing at all.
Yeah. I mean, you can listen to the reference track, or you could also just ask your worship leader, or whoever's leading the song, like, where do you want me to come in?
Yep. So we'll start with kind of the baseline thing, like you said. Let's listen to the reference track. Let's kind of get influenced by that as we begin to prep. We're going to play an example, so a new thing. Let's listen and hear where the background vocal comes in on that track.
He's calling, oh, if a change is coming next for me, to leave behind my failures. I'll never be the same. A better life is waiting, no turning back. You're the only way. I leave behind the old me. I'll never be the same. Jesus, come to a new thing.
All right, so we just listened. Kind of tell us what happened there.
So the harmony or the support vocal, whatever you want to call it, came in on the back half of verse 1, and it continued through the chorus.
Yep. And we won't play any more of that song, but I believe in verse 2, the harmony stays in the entire second verse.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Which, again, that's a dynamic thing. So verse 1, is down here, and then it takes another step, back half of verse 1, and then you go to chorus, and then by the time we get to verse 2, it's bigger musically, dynamically, so the harmony can stay in that entire thing. So again, thinking about it in a musical sense. So that's New Thing, and there are a lot of worship songs like that that are pretty formulaic as far as the dynamic goes, and when vocals come in and when they drop out. But there are some one-offs.
Yeah.
One example is our song, This Is My Hope. It definitely is kind of all over the place as far as when vocals come in and support. So, yeah, maybe explain that song and what's going on there.
Well, this song is a super unique worship song, and something that I love about it is when we wrote it with the harmony line being more of a duet. So, like, if that harmony wasn't in there, the song wouldn't sound the same. It wouldn't sound complete.
Yep.
It needs that female vocal coming in with the male vocal and the main melody to provide certain musical lifts. Like, you were talking about a New Thing, there's like certain spots in the song where that song is just like slamming all the way until the bridge. Musically and instrumentally, and so it's nice to give like different layers with vocals, and you can add something that does feel like this is a musical lift. And then dropping out gives it kind of more of a tender vibe. But This Is My Hope is instrumentally down until the bridge. So we knew there needed to be something else. So that's where that female BGV comes in, and it's more of a duet. I liked the idea of the background vocal weaving in and out to emphasize certain lines. And you'll notice that the vocal comes back in on This Is My Hope to emphasize, like, that's the title of the song. That's what we want to say. It's like, Jesus is my hope. That creates that musical lift that I was talking about.
For sure. It's cool. I think you mentioned that the song is instrumentally down until the big woe section or B section, whatever that is. Because there's no big guitars, big drums to shift the song dynamically, that puts actually a lot more weight on the background vocal. And so, yeah, you kind of got to think of it a little differently, but using the background vocal to help shift that because you don't have instruments is pretty cool. So let's just play a little snippet of This Is My Hope so you can kind of hear what we're talking about.
This is my hope when my heart has nothing left. This is my hope, it's an anchor for my soul. This is my hope, you will never let me go.
So now we've given you two examples of two different ways to find a background vocal entrance. The first way was with the example New Thing, and it's more of a straightforward example, and you just listen to the reference track, you follow it, and you find some inspiration, find some guidance on where to come in. And then with a song like This Is My Hope, that's where you have to kind of put your musical hat on and decide how you're going to vocally support, because it's very instrumentally down, and create that musical lift.
Yep, so baseline, first thing you do rehearsing is listen to the reference track and get inspired by it, find where your parts generally are. But again, you're going to find times where maybe it's a demo in PCO or like a scratch track where there's not a lot of background vocals, and you'll have to get creative and just be musical. Think about dynamics, think about being in the room, and how your instrument, which is your voice, how that can help make the song better and dynamically awesome. I think we've covered it all for entrances. We've got one more video after this, so stay tuned. Thanks for being on the team.